Good evening. Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network Live. As President Trump really hits the keynote, the main event of this Indo-Pacific tour, to meet with the premier president of the People's Republic of China and the leader of the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping, at Gimhae Air Force Base in South Korea, where it is roughly 10:31 in the morning tomorrow, October 30th. This will all culminate the President of the United States, after this bilateral meeting between the United States and China, returning to the United States of America, the homestead at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House, to celebrate Halloween with the kids and those local in the federal city, amongst the staff and their children. Some key peace deals taking place over this time with the Asia Pacific region. President Trump brokering new Kuala Lumpur peace accords, thanks to the decisive leadership and pursuit of peace by the Trump administration. The leaders of Cambodia and Thailand joining together, the two kingdoms and their prime ministers, with President Trump signing historic peace agreements to end the military conflict between the two countries, saving millions of lives. Trade deals as well with Malaysia, Cambodia, and under the two agreements, tariffs will be eliminated, significantly reducing across a massive swath of U.S. exports. Non-tariff barriers will be addressed, and also market access, expanding U.S. products. Also, President Trump inked reciprocal trade frameworks with Vietnam. Under the two frameworks, the two countries will address tariff barriers on a range of U.S. goods and products, preferential market access for United States industrial-based goods as well. Then we saw in Japan, with a new prime minister in the ilk of Shinzo Abe, the great leader there, gifting President Trump with one of his golf clubs, as they were dear friends, and military bolstering and backup happening, then going on to South Korea for not only critical minerals deals, but also to highlight the business partnership and acumen between the United States and South Korea. So much success happening on this trip. We have a quick playback for you. Moments ago, President Trump getting off of Marine One and then en route at the airport for this bilateral meeting with the People's Republic of China. What's been critical in the ASEAN and APEC tours and the countries involved in the Indo-Pacific, really reciprocal tariffs and also critical mineral deals. In fact, transformative deals with Malaysia. In addition to securing groundbreaking investments worth billions of dollars, the two countries have reached a critical minerals deal, the United States and Malaysia, that will expand trade and investment, helping diversify global supply chains and enhancing United States national security. Also, the deal with Thailand. This will promote partnerships between the U.S. and Thai companies, strengthening them, increasing global supply chain resilience, and mitigate the negative impact of anti-competitive behavior and unfair trade practices. As you can see there, Air China has landed. The president of the People's Republic of China is on board, Xi Jinping. You are witnessing right now a historical moment of the reunification of these two leaders to discuss very important matters to both of our nations, the United States and China. One, a free market economy, competitive in every such way, with a Bill of Rights, with constitutional rights that come from God. A Chinese government, on the other hand, strictly communist. They don't have what we have here in the United States. The Uyghur Muslims have been sent to prison camps, to work camps, hard labor camps, the kind of horrors that we saw back in World War II, and we know this from our satellite intelligence. This group rules with an iron fist. His predecessor, in fact, Xi Jinping, being removed from one of the last Communist Party meetings. And in fact, the hammer and sickle flag, that national emblem that was once of the Soviet Union, now being flown high over the Chinese skies. Over 5,000 years of grand history, amazing culture destroyed thanks to the ilk of communism. And it's something that this president confronts head on to see how we can get ahead in a new version of globalization. That's what you're watching here. It's not necessarily the end of that, but it's President Trump truly rewriting the global economy for the better and arguing the fact that we can actually do work together. We can work well, peacefully, for the benefit of all of our citizens across the world, whether friend or foe, in order to prevent war. It's peace through strength. It's the MAGA doctrine. President Trump has peacefully thrown out of the window the Bush foreign policy of strike first and then ask questions later. That was then replicated by the neoliberal attempts of Barack Hussein Obama. And a foreign policy class, both Republican and Democrat, that did not have the courage to simply pick up a phone and get to know the other person. I think the next book that President Trump perhaps will write is The Art of Foreign Policy, because we saw this as the peacemaker in chief in Malaysia, again with the rare earth and minerals deals with Cambodia and Thailand to bring them together and away from war. Then on to Japan to recommit in our alliance throughout the Pacific. And with tomahawks and ships and other technologies coming directly to them, I'm sure they're very happy to have that with a Chinese communist threat that tries to impose itself upon the region. So the military strength being the highlight of that trip. Also now with Korea and extraordinary companies like Hyundai, and even with a situation where you had an immigration raid at the plant in the Peach State of Georgia, still the two nations recognize that our business ties are perhaps stronger than ever. So this has been perhaps the most successful trip, even more so than the Gulf nations of the United Arab Emirates to Saudi Arabia, even Qatar. And President Trump is writing all of this as the American Democrat Party continues to drag its heels in the sand. Amazing to watch as they continue with the government shutdown on the loom of November 1st coming very fast, where SNAP benefits and welfare benefits could be refused to countless thousands, if not millions of Americans potentially. Now also with that Japanese deal where President Trump focus squarely on Section 1 of the critical minerals and rare earths. That was a huge component of that deal with the permitting, asset sales, also scrap and third parties, and geological mapping, which will be very crucial to the future of this. Again, it lowers the dependence, if not eliminates it, from the Chinese Communist Party with all of these nations involved. Section 2 of general matters when it comes to the military and comes to participating in global trade, all coming together in Tokyo for that very historic moment. And governments of different ideologies, for example, the Japanese prime minister coming from that Liberal Democrat Party of Japan, which is center-right, actually a nationalist populist party, much like that of the American Republican Party. But the same name, the Liberal Democrats of South Korea, are a far-left group, generally speaking. Even with that said, the South Korean President Lee commended President Trump, saying, "You are making America great again, and we want to be part of that and continue the strong business ties that you see between our two great countries, especially with remarkable automotive companies, like I mentioned, Hyundai in Korea. That's most of their plants now here in the United States, especially benefiting Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, the Southeast United States, including the Japanese company Toyota. In fact, some of the greatest trucks you could perhaps ever purchase through that company. We had the privilege of speaking earlier with Congressman Buddy Carter from the Peach State of Georgia, where all of this is happening. So much infrastructure and facilities and factories being built right here in America's Southeast region about these very issues. He comes from Savannah, Georgia in the 1st District, and he's running to be the next United States Senator. Welcome to RSBN's live desk in the prime time. It's Congressman Buddy Carter of the great Peach State of Georgia. He happens to be running for the United States Senate as well. We appreciate your time, sir, as we've watched President Trump this last week really become not only the peacemaker in Malaysia between Cambodia and Thailand, but then really that military partner to Japan, and now really pitching out that business deal. I think he can write a new book called The Art of Diplomacy. What do you anticipate with tonight or tomorrow morning over there in South Korea with the meeting with Premier Xi Jinping of China?
Well, I think the president has proven that he is the great negotiator, and I think that he is going to stand up to China and stand up for the American workers, for the American farmers, for the American businesses, and he does that. The president achieves peace through strength, and that's one of the things that we need to keep in mind. Yes, he's a great negotiator. There's no question. I would submit to you, one of the greatest negotiators of all time. He's also a peacemaker. I mean, look at what he did this week in Cambodia and Thailand, yet another peace deal. How this man did not get the Nobel Peace Prize is beyond me. No one deserved it more than he did. But at the same time, hopefully he'll get it next year. But at the same time, what he's done in the way of trade deals, look at what he's done this week. The deal, he said a deal with Cambodia, with Thailand or Malaysia. And now he's got the framework for Vietnam and for Cambodia. All of those things are significant. He is fighting on behalf of Americans and standing up for American workers, for American farmers, and for American families and businesses.
And the Liberal Democrat Party of South Korea, the President Lee awarding him the Order of Magungwa, which is a huge honor for not only an American president, but any foreign head of state. So the words of praise continue to ring and echo as even the Liberal Democrat president of South Korea saying that you are making America great again. We want to be part of that as a market-based economy in Korea, even encouraging President Trump, hopefully the next time, getting to meet with Mr. Kim Jong-un, the chairman of North Korea. So you see Korean relations really working out fairly well on the peninsula. You did your due diligence in the House with House leadership as well to have the continuing resolution, but we still see the Senate dragging their feet, whether it's Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who has endorsed Mamdani in New York City, to the Minority Leader in the United States Senate, Chuck Schumer, who seemingly is appeasing the far left simply to stay relevant and to not get that primary threat, that challenge from AOC. What would you do differently as a United States Senator? You're seeking that seat in the Peach State of Georgia. How would you get at least 5 common sense Democrats, if they exist anymore, to come to the table to reopen this government for those who are in need of the SNAP benefits and the welfare programs?
Well, you hit the nail on the head about what is happening here, because it is Chuck Schumer, it is John Ossoff, it is the Senate Democrats who are holding us up. And yes, we did our job in the House. We passed a continuing resolution to get us through November 21st. We've even indicated that we'd be willing to extend that even further if we need to. But the Democrats and Chuck Schumer and John Ossoff are holding out for no other reason but to get illegal immigrants health care benefits. And that's something that is despicable when you use our troops, when you use our citizens, our federal workers as collateral to try to get health care coverage for illegal immigrants. What they want to do is they want to reverse what we did in the Working Families Tax Cut Act. And what did we do? No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, decreased tax on Social Security, increased child care tax credits, making sure that illegals would not be on Medicaid, making sure that Georgians would not see a tax increase of $5,000. Chuck Schumer, John Ossoff, they voted against that. They voted against that, and they should be held accountable for that. And to your point about what Chuck Schumer is trying to do, he's just trying to prove that he's more anti-Trump than AOC because he knows she's going to primary him.
Yes, that is really on the table for 2028. So I'll watch that extremely closely as, God forbid, New York City goes the communist route next week in the elections. It's really frightening to think about. But how does this all culminate in moments President Trump is going to sit down with Xi Jinping, as I mentioned, of China, and they have really moved on trying to build up and buy up agricultural subsidies, American farmland. We know that they're different institutions, their Confucius Institutes on the college campuses have attempted to spy on American life. How can you reclaim from a congressional side of things American sovereignty against the Chinese communist threat?
Well, certainly President Trump is going to be the leader in this. And I think there are good signs here. The sign that China bought some cargoes of soybeans just before the meeting took place here. I think that's a good sign that maybe relations are good. And keep in mind what President Trump is trying to do while he's over there. He's trying to make sure that our country is safe from the epidemic of fentanyl. He is making sure that China is not going to be sending the precursors to fentanyl overseas anymore. That's something he's done. He made a promise to America. He made a promise that he'd make us more prosperous and safer, and he has delivered on both of those. He made us more prosperous through the Working Families Tax Cut Act. He's made us safer by securing our border. Now he's even going further to try to stem the flow of fentanyl into this country that is infesting our communities and killing our citizens. So I applaud President Trump with what he has done. Yes, we do need to do more, as you indicate. We cannot allow them to be buying up our farmland, particularly the farmland that is close to our bases. We know that that is ridiculous. So, yes, there are things that we need to do. And what I want to do is to continue what I've done in the House, and I want to do it in the Senate. And that is to codify what President Trump is doing by executive order and to follow his lead on what he's doing on the world stage.
And Congressman, do you believe as well with codifying this great new plans, whether it's executive order through the legislative process, with what President Trump has done to reform the United States, both domestically and internationally, do you believe that in Congress there should be term limits, or where do you stand on that?
Yes, term limits are important. I've always supported term limits. I just simply want them to be applicable to everyone. Everyone should have to follow it. I think it would be unfair to Georgians if I worked diligently to become chair of a major committee and I had to step down because of a term limit, but someone else did not have to. As long as they're fair and even with everyone, I'm fine with term limits and have supported them in the past and will continue to support them.
And as I've been saying for some time now, so goes Georgia, so goes the nation. A big crowded field for many different offices statewide in this upcoming election. What sets you apart in the United States Senate race?
Well, let's face it, John Ossoff does not represent the values of the state of Georgia. He does not represent our values. He was supporting Joe Biden's open border policies. He was supporting Joe Biden's inflationary measures. He was making sure that we had biological men and girls sports. I'm going to go to the Senate and I'm going to make sure that we secure our border, that we make sure that we have a strong economy, that we have energy dominance to support President Trump and his America First policies. Why am I the one to do that? Because I've been doing it. I've been doing it in the House. I did it through the first Trump administration. I've done it through the first 10 months of this administration, and I'll continue to do it in the House. Support President Trump and his America First policies and represent the values of the state of Georgia.
Oh, yes, and it is. It's hardworking, good people, and perhaps the most diverse state in the country now with so many people moving to the Peach State.
Absolutely, and it's a great place to live. I will tell you, I've been here all my life, intend to be here the rest of my life. It is a great place for businesses. 12 years in a row, the number one state in which to do business. And there's a reason for that. We've worked hard for that, and I congratulate and applaud our leadership for what they've done to continue that.
It's been very impressive to watch as an adopted Georgian myself from Chicagoland. Thank you for putting your arms around this Yankee Doodle Dandy, if you will, because Georgia really is. It's good people, and we hope to see that spread throughout the country, whatever neck of the woods our viewers are watching from. It's Congressman Buddy Carter. Thank you for joining us tonight from the 1st District of Georgia. He is a candidate for the United States Senate in 2026. We hope to see you again soon, sir, on the right side of history.
Thank you, sir.
Again, our sincere thanks to Congressman Buddy Carter of the 1st District of Georgia as you see the Chinese motorcade ominously pull up to what is going to be perhaps the most crucial meeting of this president's tenure in this second term. We know that Xi Jinping has been a guest of President Trump at Mar-a-Lago on the homeland. President Trump having visited China and the mainland in his first term as well. But if you recall, the mother of all bombs was dropped in April of 2017 to eliminate ISIS, thanks to the advice and the leadership of General Dan Raisin Kane, now the general of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the command head there, the chairman. And they were enjoying some turtle cheesecake, if I recall, back in April 2017. And with cut number 7, Mr. Producer, if we can pop that up right beforehand, President Trump putting on Truth Social just a couple of hours ago, very much looking forward to my meeting with President Xi of China. It will take place in a few hours, President DJT. And those few hours are right now, 7 minutes early. It is approximately there 10 p.m. Eastern right here on our seaboards. But it is 11 a.m. in South Korea for this very important meeting between President Trump and President Xi. We'll toss it there now live and catch all of the action. And it is 10:55 in the morning, 5 minutes before 11 o'clock in Busan, South Korea. They're the Chinese premier leader, President Xi, being greeted by Ambassador Monica Crowley, the chief of protocol, doing an outstanding job on this trip. Mind you as well, Secretary of State Marco Rubio doing extraordinarily well. As President Trump said, he was born for this job. And with those press gaggles on Air Force One, it was very clear with that, with the White House pool. Also, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, on hand with the superstar Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, Stephen Miller, also Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer, among others, sharing in American foreign policy and peace through strength, the MAGA doctrine in real time over the course of these crucial few days in Asia. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is the time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and ultimately for options worth learning about. Now, more people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for breast cancer health and security. Its potential cancer support in ongoing research is robust, and that science continues to point in this direction. Therefore, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN offering the access you deserve with 40% off of life-saving mebendazole right now. Scan the QR code there. For you and your loved ones, they make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure its appropriate nature, and only with a pharmaceutical note. You do not need insurance to be with this great company. You will get this directly to your door. For the final week of October, just these last couple of days, 40% off mebendazole through October 31st, through Halloween. As always, this is not necessarily medical advice, so please go to your specific doctor or even reach out to the doctors, pharmacists, and nurses there at allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. The storm is building beneath the dollar, especially in these discussions when it comes to the BRICS nations who want to divest from the United States dollar and its influence around the world. Where does that leave you with wealth security and preservations? Grab your complimentary presidential gold guide from Monetary Gold today. Call today. Do not delay. It's 888-617-7994. For years, the signs have been clear, but most Americans ignore them. The impossible miss and the growing storm. But gold has broken through at $4,000 an ounce this year alone, before one calendar year after President Trump taking the oath of office on January 20th. Silver passed $50. This is not luck. It's logic. There is a bull market happening with these commodities. RSBN4thegold.com is there for you with Monetary Gold, wealth, security, preservation. It's the best in the business. And when government spends beyond their means, when every crisis hits through inflation and the printing of money, trillions out of thin air, roughly matching now $38 trillion in debt. What does that mean for our future, whether it's purchasing that first or second property or creating generational wealth? Well, history proves it. It rhymes. And every time a currency weakens, gold and silver reveals the truth. This goes to 5,000 plus years of human history. These metals don't depend on promises. They don't vanish. When confidence collapse in the markets, they endure. So call 888-617-7994. It's RSBN4thegold.com. It's the place to go. Monetary Gold, wealth, security, preservation, all there for you. Call immediately to discover how you can eliminate those IRA fees permanently for life. At 10 p.m. Eastern here in the United States, it's 11 a.m. in Busan, South Korea. They are 13 hours ahead. President Trump with a big Thursday ahead as he is meeting in a bilateral manner with the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese nation that has oppressed countless people, that helped to unleash a virus which slowed the world economy. But now their backs against the ropes with the peacemaker in chief, the deal maker in chief, the diplomatic master who is Donald John Trump, the private citizen who became the 45th and 47th president of the United States, literally displaying over the course of 9 months a masterclass in ending 8 wars, 9 right on the cusp with Russia and Ukraine, to trillions of dollars in tariff deals and then billions and billions coming back to the United States as reciprocal trade, we were being taken advantage of from both Republican and Democrat presidents. And quite frankly, President Trump's living predecessors really screwed it up big time. Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Hussein Obama, and the auto pen. And the people that worked under them really did a disservice by helping allow, and this included the auto pen back when he was a United States Senator, the Chinese Communist Party to enter the global trading apparatus, and they took advantage of it. They're known for cheating on deals. They are known for having a 200-plus year playbook. They are known for simply stating we don't have to worry about that pesky thing known as democracy, known as human rights. And the time and tide has truly changed under the leadership of President Trump through what is extraordinarily complicated, but rather simple. Why fight wars when we can work through business, when we can trade together in a free and fair manner, that we could stop a fentanyl crisis and open borders and actually defend our sovereignty? President Trump's leadership leading to people like President Javier Milei of Argentina, as we congratulate him on his reelection, to Giorgia Meloni and the amazing work as prime minister in the Republic of Italy, and to places like Budapest, Hungary, and ultimately where he has visited from Malaysia to Cambodia and Thailand, although with different forms of government, all the way to Korea and Japan. This president has inspired a right-wing populism, a rebirth in the respect of sovereignty. It is the MAGA doctrine, plain and simple. And this is perhaps the most important meeting, even more consequential than that Anchorage peace accord back on August 15th with President Putin of Russia. As you see the United States and Chinese flags there, we will anticipate there on the red carpet both the President of the United States and the President of the People's Republic of China forthcoming. We'll take you right there when that all happens. And this trip has been one that has been quite successful. President Trump with lots to be thankful for, along with this diplomatic team that has been second to none. As we notice with the Korean people honoring President Trump with cut number 4 in truly an extraordinary way. Wonderful. And even Mr. Brad Paisley singing it boldly before game number 2 of the World Series, underway tonight with game number 5 as well. But that's rather special to have in the South Korean peninsula as President Trump awarded the Grand Order of Magungwa, a gigantic honor by the Korean government, to the President of the United States with cut number 3, Mr. Producer. This again has been the trip of a lifetime, and the reordering, the restructuring truly of globalization and the way real minerals and rare earths are dealt And now with China truly on the ropes, we will see what this meeting will entail as this order was granted upon the President of the United States.
To honor your achievements in paving the way toward peace on the Korean Peninsula 6 years ago, and in anticipation of the peace and prosperity you will bring to the Korean Peninsula, we present you this medal with our deepest appreciation.
Thank you very much. It's as beautiful as it can possibly be.
너무나 아름답습니다.
I'll always cherish it.
항상 소중히 감사드렸습니다.
대한민국 국민들이 우리 대통령님께 특별한 감사의 마음을 담아서 드리는 것입니다.
The people of Korea are awarding you with this medal with their deep appreciation.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor. We're going to keep it very good in Korea. It's very, very special. We have a very great relationship, and it will continue and only get stronger. Thank you very much.
대단히 감사합니다. 소중히 간직하겠습니다. 한국과 미국은 아주 강력한 동맹관계이고 앞으로도 이것을 통해서 더욱더 아주 굳건한 동맹관계가 지속될 것으로 생각합니다.
That is really beautiful. I'd like to wear it right now.
걸고 싶은데요.
Thank you so much. We'll cherish it. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
소중히 간직.
A high honor and thank you to the people of South Korea as it reflects an entire nation and gratitude on the part of the American people and for honoring our president. And with cut number 10, Mr. Producer, South Korea has agreed to pay the United States of America $350 billion, according to President Trump, on Truth Social for lowering of the tariffs that's taking place, charged against them by the United States. Additionally, they have agreed for the oil and gas in vast quantities. Let's go there right now live. President Trump is out there, and we assume the premier.
Mr. President, the President of the People's Republic of China.
Good to meet you.
Great pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Well,
Me too.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt.
我肯定我们今天会有非常成功的会议。
But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
但是他是很强硬的谈判者哦，这不好。
We know each other well.
我们相互之间非常了解。Mr. President, do you plan to sign a trade deal today?
Could be.
有可能。
I think we'll have a great understanding.
但是我们会达成很好的
We
理
have a
解。
great relationship. We've always had a great relationship.
我们之间的关系很好，关系总是很好。
我们之间的关系。
那问他是不是还在会买美国的大众 ？Will you discuss Taiwan here?
下面问题。
Which way?
Right, one minute, right here.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please.
Wait, everybody else is going to the meeting. Everybody else.
No. Everybody stay. Stop.
A truly historic moment, President Trump and President Xi shaking hands there before the bilateral meeting, escorted by Ambassador Monica Crowley, the chief of protocol. And again, additionally, the agreements with South Korea. So much of this happening, to President Trump's point, Xi Jinping, a strong negotiator. He has said that and complimented every nation that they have come in contact with over the trip, over the course of this last few days. The gas in vast quantities and oil also being discussed by the South Korean and American governments in vast quantities and investments into our country by wealthy South Korean companies and businessmen will exceed $600 billion. Our military alliance is stronger than ever before. And based on that, I have given them approval to build the nuclear power submarine rather than the old fashioned and far less nimble than the old diesel-powered submarines that they have now. A great trip with a great president of South Korea and them playing host country to this historic meeting between the United States and China. We'll see if any deals are signed or anything will come forward from this bilateral meeting today. But there's no question who has been watching over the course of the last few days with eyes keen on the Indo-Pacific region. No question, China has been watching, Russia has been watching, and yes, North Korea as well in this entire process. And yours truly believes, after analyzing and seeing all of this, I can't say this for fact necessarily, but rather opinion, that perhaps Kim Jong-un was set to the sidelines by that of Xi Jinping for at least this trip. There were scheduling conflicts. They were trying to find a way for Chairman Kim and President Trump to meet together, but the North Koreans not finding the time for that. Perhaps that's the influence of the Chinese Communist Party, but to be determined as discussions continue. Let's take a quick break for kimchi. It's Breakcore's finest product. We'll be right back with you here at Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Every day, you eat, drink, and breathe plastic. Not bottles or bags, the kind you can see, but microscopic fragments called microplastics. They're invisible, they're everywhere, and they're inside you right now. Scientists have found them in bottled water, table salt, food, vegetables, and even clouds. They've been detected in human blood, lungs, and brain tissue. One study estimated the average person consumes the equivalent of a credit card's worth of plastic every single week. And it's not slowing down. Plastic production is expected to triple by 2060, meaning the air you breathe, the rain that falls, and the food that sustains you will only become more contaminated. Once microplastics enter your body, they don't pass through harmlessly. They scrape and tear at your intestinal lining, triggering constant inflammation and disrupt your microbiome, the command center of your immune system and metabolism. They carry toxic additives and heavy metals that leach into your bloodstream, disturbing your hormones, damaging DNA, and accelerating aging from the inside out. Doctors are finding links between microplastic exposure and infertility, heart disease, autoimmune disorders, and early cognitive decline. And here's the worst part: your body can't break them down. They build up year after year, like invisible shrapnel lodged inside your organs. But recently, researchers studying traditional Korean kimchi discovered something incredible: a probiotic strain.
Keep going. Keep moving. Keep moving. They're going.
That's China. U.S. here.
Go.
You got it?
No. Can't get to our sticks. Camera.
Off my foot.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with a friend of mine, really for a long time now, if you think about it. The very, very distinguished and respected President of China. And we will be having some discussions. I think we've already agreed to a lot of things, and we'll agree to some more right now. But President Xi is a great leader of a great country, and I think we're going to have a fantastic relationship for a long period of time. And it's an honor to have you with us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Trump, it is a great pleasure for me as well to meet you. And it feels very warm seeing you again because it's been many years. Since your re-election, we have spoken on the phone 3 times, exchanged several letters, and stayed in close contact. Under our joint guidance, China-US relations have remained stable on the whole. Given our different national conditions, we do not always see eye to eye with each other, and it is normal for the 2 leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then. And in the face of winds, waves, and challenges, you and I, at the helm of China-US relations, should stay the right course and ensure the steady sailing forward of the giant ship of China-U.S. relations. I always believe that China's development goes hand in hand with your vision to make America great again. Our two countries are fully able to help each other succeed and prosper together. Over the years, I have stated in public many times that China and the United States should be partners and friends. This is what history has taught us and what reality demands. A few days ago, in the latest round of consultation, our two economic and trade teams reached basic consensus on addressing our respective major concerns and made encouraging progress. This provided the necessary conditions for our meeting today. Mr. President, I am ready to continue working with you to build a solid foundation for China-U.S. relations and create a sound atmosphere for the development of both countries. Mr. President, you care a lot about world peace, and you are very enthusiastic about settling various regional hotspot issues. I appreciate your great contribution to the recent conclusion of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. During your visit to Malaysia, you witnessed the signing of the Joint Declaration on Peace along the Cambodia-Thailand border, to which you had provided input. China has been helping in our own way Cambodia and Thailand properly settle their border disputes, and we have also been promoting peace talks to resolve other hotspot issues. The world today is confronted with many tough problems. China and the U.S. can jointly shoulder our responsibility as major countries and work together to accomplish more great and concrete things for the good of our two countries and the whole world. I look forward to exchanging views with you on questions important for our two countries and the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to have you all. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, why did you change your nuclear plans? Why are you going to be doing more nuclear testing?
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
And also joining the table, of course, Howard Lutnick, who's been on the trip, who has done an amazing job negotiating countless deals for commerce and also for the American people abroad, ultimately serving in the Trump administration. The gentleman at the end of the table there, the United States ambassador to China, David Perdue, an extraordinary selection from the great peach state of Georgia. A lot of talent there in Georgia, as President Trump and Chinese President Xi hold a meeting, offering one another high accolades and glowing comments regarding not only their own personal friendship, but also looking at the peace and security of the world, and acknowledgement of times when the two largest economies can have some varying disagreements. And now that does switch on and off as well with the European Union. But President Trump and President Xi have no other way than to dialogue, and President Trump leading that way, being thanked for the peace accords in the region, especially with Cambodia and Thailand. So if you saw just before the kimchi video, that's not necessarily a scary Halloween-themed situation. These microplastics, a very scary reality in our society. Use code RSBN for 25% off your order by going to mybrightcore.com/RSBN, or even for a better deal, call Brightcore and get up to 50% off plus free shipping. That number, 888-722-0936. Remember, you can only get the 50% off if you call in to Brightcore. Kimchi One, made right there in the USA. Gut health, immune support, anti-aging properties, crucial. But then if you're going online, you can't make that phone call for some reason, 25% off with code RSBN at mybrightcore.com/RSBN. But again, that phone number, 888-722-0936 for half off of this extraordinary product. And kimchi in and of itself, fantastic in the supplement form or as a delicious additive to a number of different fantastic dishes, especially from the Indo-Pacific. But this is something that's not necessarily a luxury. It's a must-have. As you saw there, microplastics in the air, in the water, in our ecosystem, sadly, and something that can really curb the poisons that can really harm your body. Made right here in the USA, it's Brightcore's premier product, Kimchi 1. At 10:20 Eastern, it is 11:20 a.m. on Thursday, October 30th. So a day ahead of us, as President Trump has a big day ahead of us. You see 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, perhaps the White House looking more glorious than ever with the lights on and the American flags, relaxing somewhat in a gentle breeze on this fantastic Wednesday evening in the final week of October. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, also Halloween celebrations to be underway. President Trump has quite a luxury liner on Air Force One, but he's taking a big trip back from Busan, South Korea, directly to Andrews Air Force Base just outside of Washington, D.C. And instead of retiring or going back to work in the Oval Office, he will be joining in the Halloween celebrations led by the office of the First Lady. We'll see Melania Trump tomorrow handing out candy to countless residents of the federal city, their children, and administration officials. It will be surely an adorable sight to see as we get the Halloween celebrations underway. And tomorrow, you will not want to miss additional coverage leading up to Halloween, whether it be the Voice of Reason or whether it be our covering of the Halloween celebrations underway at the White House. So be sure to tune in on Thursday, October 30th for all of that. Now, in case you missed it, President Trump also aboard the USS George Washington with cut number 1, Mr. Producer, watching in that really fantastic review of the troops. And it is anchored in a Japanese port. And recently, the United States Navy having military exercises, joint exercises, with the Empire of Japan.
Great honor to be here. And I'm thrilled to be here among thousands of proud American patriots. The cherished alliance between the United States and Japan is one of the most remarkable relationships in the entire world. As Commander-in-Chief, I never forget that our ultimate strength does not come from equipment. It comes from the men and women of the rank and file. No enemy will ever even dream of threatening America's Navy. There's no Navy even close. Nobody can do what we do. Nobody has what we have.
Godspeed, Mr. President. Thank you to your cabinet, your administration, for an extraordinarily exceptional foreign trip in the Indo-Pacific, meeting with countless countries and reshaping global trade at a scale that we have not seen within the modern era. It's truly remarkable. So congratulations in advance as the bilateral meeting happening right now between President Trump and Chinese President Xi taking place there in Busan, South Korea. Join us tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern for a 5:30 Eastern POTUS and FLOTUS Halloween event. Yes, the President and the First Lady of the United States to join in the Halloween celebrations as they get underway. In the meantime, thank you to mypillow.com/RSBN. One of our friends there, Mike Lindell, the purveyor of free speech, defender of election integrity, and a great overall guy, and just maybe, will be serving in the upper echelons of state government in the wonderful state of Minnesota, where all his factories are. This is made in America, my friends. And if you want a better night's sleep or an even better start to your morning, how about the 6-piece towel set back in stock, normally going for $70. now under 40 at $39.98, a very limited quantity. MyPillow.com/RSBN. Call today. Do not delay. 800-836-7566. Support Mike Lindell and Right Side Broadcasting Network. Over 2,000 products at this site. MyPillow.com/RSBN. Thank you for joining us on Right Side Broadcasting Network's Prime Time on this lovely evening in the Federal City and at our home headquarters here in the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn, Alabama. That brisk weather came in with the cold fronts over the last few days. Sunshine, I think, over the next couple of days as we get ready to celebrate Halloween. You are not going to want to miss tomorrow's coverage, not only at the White House, so tune in live at 3 p.m. Eastern into the prime time for the Voice of Reason. We have a special Halloween showcase for your viewing pleasure. Get all America First updates and exclusive offers at rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. For all of my colleagues here on the right side of history, I'm Robert McNeely. Have a wonderful evening, and God bless you and yours.
Every day, you eat, drink, and breathe plastic. Not bottles or bags, the kind you can see, but microscopic fragments called microplastics. They're invisible, they're everywhere, and they're inside you right now. Scientists have found them in bottled water, table salt, food, vegetables, and even clouds. They've been detected in human blood, lungs, and brain tissue. One study estimated the average person consumes the equivalent of a credit card's worth of plastic every single week. And it's not slowing down. Plastic production is expected to triple by 2060, meaning the air you breathe, the rain that falls, and the food that sustains you will only become more contaminated. Once microplastics enter your body, they don't pass through harmlessly. They scrape and tear at your intestinal lining, triggering constant inflammation and disrupt your microbiome, the command center of your immune system and metabolism. They carry toxic additives and heavy metals that leach into your bloodstream, disturbing your hormones, damaging DNA, and accelerating aging from the inside out. Doctors are finding links between microplastic exposure and infertility, heart disease, autoimmune disorders, and early cognitive decline. And here's the worst part: your body can't break them down. They build up year after year, like invisible shrapnel lodged inside your organs. But recently, researchers studying traditional Korean kimchi discovered something incredible. A probiotic strain called Bacillus pumilus, found only in kimchi, can actually degrade BPA plastics. In the lab, these bacteria were shown to break down BPA into harmless components, literally digesting one of the most persistent plastic toxins known to science. And the source? Not a pharmaceutical factory, not a billion-dollar biotech lab. It came from kimchi, a food that's been part of human diets for over 2,000 years. Kimchi is one of the world's most powerful superfoods, and let's be honest, it's messy, strong-smelling, and not exactly easy to eat every single day. That's why Brightcore created Kimchi One, to give you all the benefits of premium fermented kimchi in convenient capsule form. No mess, no taste, no hassle. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains, live enzymes, and antioxidants that help restore balance in your gut and health to the rest of your body. People are seeing improvements in digestion, energy, even cardiovascular and brain health. Studies show that kimchi can even reduce the risk of obesity, promote smaller waistlines, and lower BMI. Kimchi One is all natural, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, and 100% made in the USA, so just about anyone can take it. We're living in a toxic world. You must do something proactive.